What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we got a very special interview, and it's special because the homie's back, and I know y'all can't wait to see what she has to say about today's episode of BMF. That's season 3, episode 2, Magic Makers. Y'all may know her as Peaches, but in case that's the only thing you know her by, because we're going to talk about all of her projects today. So you need to know who is the actor behind the character Peaches, and that is Rama Montakhabi. Rama, how you doing today?
I'm good, babe. How are you?
I am well. I am well. Let's go back to the premiere, which happened just a little while ago there. Fun time in LA. I think it's safe to say no bias that you really showed up and showed out. The outfit was catching eyes. I mean, everybody was heat seeking you. Everybody just knew that uh you had something special. And then yeah, we got that interview on the channel, but just in case anybody missed that, let's go back to that. Let's give a shout out to your stylist and talk about that outfit. And then I ultimately want to know, after that, did you go back to him and let him know what the feedback was all about?
Oh, my stylist literally had sent me a picture from me off the Getty images on the carpet before I even got home. And I was like, oh my God, you're quick. But shout out to Aaron Gomez. He really hooked it up. That was actually a Dan Richer dress. Amazing. Shout out to Simone for the plug on that. It was all just tied in perfectly. And I'm so grateful I got to wear that beautiful dress.
Yeah, that thing. Whew, I saw you. I was like, man, I knew she wasn't going to be playing. But listen, like, now that you're coming back for your second season, which is BMF season 3, I'm sure the nervousness was all out because season 2, you were just getting a part of the family. It's a huge premiere. It was star studded, and now that you kind of was aware of what the BMF premieres were going to bring, you kind of fit in and was kind of more laid back this time around. Would you assess it the same, or what was just your mindset coming into it for your second time?
No, I mean, I feel like last year was my one of my very first major premieres, so I was definitely very green and not as experienced as I am now. I've been on a lot of carpets since
You
then.
have.
I've done a lot of interviews since then, and I just feel like the outfit kind of it enhanced the confidence. I was already confident going in there, but then just that outfit made me feel like a superhero, bro. I was like, okay, gliding through the carpet. Like it was a great night.
I mean, and for the time, we talked a lot, and that's not important for the interview today. But for the time, the moment I sat by you just for a little bit before the premiere started, there was a lot of attention in our area, and it was all because of you. Because like folks were definitely inquiring for whatever reason it may have been, but folks was checking you out, and I was like, listen, man, it's a proud moment to see a friend really flourish, but yet like grow in these spaces. And yeah, from season 2 to season 3, you've became something I always knew you was going to be as a star. So it's good to see you living in those moments, in those times, and getting the flowers from folks, even if they're just like beaming, drilling holes through you one way or another, right?
Thank you, Najir. That really means a lot to
Absolutely.
me. You got me blushing over here.
You know it, man. You just need to know. Something we talked a little bit about, but I pulled the plug on the conversation because I wanted to bring it to this was anybody who's a fan of yours or following you on social media sees you be out on that course. You be out there doing a little thing or two. And it's not
Yep.
that I ever doubted you. I jokingly was like, "What's that swing hitting on?" You was like, "What you mean?" And you pulled up the receipt. It was like, "What you want to see here?" Yeah, let's bring it to the interview here. When was the first time you got on a golf course? And then when did you know that was going to be a passion of yours?
Well, the first time I ever was on a golf course was when I was like 7 or 8. It was just playing around. It wasn't anything major. I'd gone to Top Golf and putt putt and all that stuff all throughout these years, but it wasn't until like September, I want to say, that me and my best friend, we had just gotten into this conversation about golf. And I was like, I've been wanting to get into it. And she'd been wanting to get into it. So we just got into it and we went on the course and found out that we're pretty good. And, even being beginners, we have our moments, and golf is golf,
Yeah.
even if you're like a pro. Like I just went and saw Tiger Woods play at the Invitational, and I saw
Yeah,
him
dope.
hit a really crappy shot. And I was like, we're all human. Like, it happens to the best of us. So I
Yeah.
just literally I'm locked in. I am so passionate about it. I don't know where this passion came from, but I'm very competitive by nature anyway.
Yeah.
So when I got out there, you're only competing with yourself. You realize that you're not playing against people, you are playing against yourself. So I think that might be a reason too, because I'm always trying to get better and be better at everything that I do. So I think that's why.
And with you staying booked and busy, which we'll talk about in a little bit too, how do you fit the time in for it? And again, anybody following you on social media know that you're very big into fitness. You take a lot of time in doing what I feel is a lot of therapeutic actions. You do the hikes, which is obviously good physically, but mentally, anybody who goes hiking knows just how important it is, because you sort of detach from the electronics, you detach from society. It's just at that rate, even though other people are there, it's pretty much you and that trail, and your mind goes wherever it is that it may need to go at that time. But like, yeah, so you do that work, and then you can almost look at golf as a measure of something that could be a little bit therapeutic,
Absolutely.
or folks get vices. Folks find things to say like, this is my job, but this is like my me time. So when you did establish that this was a passion of yours, and with everything you got going on, how do you sort of fit in the time, and what does it do for you mentally?
I mean, I try to fit it in as often as I can, to be honest. But I feel like we had a long break. We had quite a few months off with this strike. So I think in that time frame, I had plenty of time to learn the game, get all right at it. Like I even go out there with the guys sometimes. It's just me and the guys, and I'll keep up with them. Like my drives will be just as long, if not longer, than theirs.
Let's
So
go.
um, yeah, that's pretty much how it all got started and where it's at right now.
Love it. I love to hear it. Yeah, now we gotta get you on something that's sports driven, and you getting out there on the green, so folks can really see what you can do. You know what I mean? Get that high visibility and get paid for it too.
Yeah, give me that golf money, honey.
um the premiere, so we talked about the red carpet, and obviously the screening. It was a very special premiere, and I've been to a significant amount of premieres, but this one was obviously different because not just the folks that were there, but you got the announcement for season 4. And although we know the fate of your character now, um you still have to attest that the work that you all have done collectively to get that announcement. It doesn't happen if y'all don't put in the work one way or another, and that's a team effort. And one way or another, folks want to ensure that they get that next season announcement. Otherwise, they're online complaining about it, and that's definitely a shot
Right. I
at
mean, you never
another
know.
show.
He just might come back in a flashback.
And that's true. It's very much true, and you just never know how these stories are going to be played, how they're going to play out. But again, getting an announcement for season 4, which in this day we got a lot of news. You got the announcement for season 4, hearing that Big Meech is coming home soon,
Next
um, and,
year.
and then the biggest announcement and yet appearance is having Randy bless us at the
Yeah.
premiere. Um, just in terms of being part of the family, putting in the work now for 2 seasons of Randy appearing. What are those type of emotions, knowing that you all are creating something special? The networks is noticing, the world is paying attention, and then Randy coming to celebrate with you all. What are those emotions for you?
Oh, it was so beautiful. I mean, I'm really good friends with Sabria, so I kind of knew that he was going to be there, and I was keeping the secret alive, So I was just really excited to see him there and to have him receive his flowers, and it was just a beautiful moment for the family. Period.
Yeah. Yeah. You can feel that energy in there, and
100%.
definitely a little emotional, but the moment you wanna get emotional for him, he's just like, "Nah, turn this up." It's like,
Yeah,
"Alright."
exactly. And Baby Haven had her first red carpet premiere.
Yeah. Man, that dope times, dope times. Alright, let's talk about tonight's episode again, folks. Episode 2 of season 3, Magic Maker. Now, God, man,
I
I always
know.
hate when I see my friends leaving the show, because and there's no bias, but as a person who covers this show, and we want to talk storylines and theories, and just want to see the show have 20 seasons, and just seeing characters getting a lot of just a lot of depth to them. When we first got introduced to Peaches, and people label Peaches as a different few ways. One, I've always said she was a hustler because, yeah, you could say K9's girlfriend, K9's side piece, but the moment K9 is not around, we saw that she was out there getting it, and there was always that idea of like, what would she do with no K9? So that's my mind's at this entire season. Is like K9 is out here singing to the birds, he got. But he also didn't name everybody, So, his story seems to be at bay right now. Does K9, and shout out to my man Rayon, and hopefully we probably see him back at some point. We'll see. But like for right now, we know that character's at bay. But then Peaches is still out. So I'm like, okay. And then in this episode, we see Peaches coming into the spot. And with Henrietta, getting that big introduction, taking a look over across the room, seeing Peaches. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I have no clue where this is going to go. And by the end of the episode, I'm just jaw dropped. Cause I'm just like, I can't believe like what is happening right now.
I
Um,
know.
I want to be positive in here, and obviously be fair to the writers and so on. But did you had hope for more with Peaches, considering that now, and again, just lack for better words here, she was let off the leash of K9, so now we had potentially room for her to like do something, and then obviously the big players are at this event, people playing, cards, poker, whatever it may be. Got the BMF boys there, Henrietta and her operation there, or their operation there. And then you see Peaches like, well, Peaches knows what this is going on. She's ready to make moves. What does that look like? Did you had hope for more here, and if not, I mean, or if so, because I know you did.
Of
Just
course.
how did you see this all playing out? If you would detail some.
So, I didn't know how it was all going to play out. And I didn't even realize that that scene was going to happen until after I had already agreed to, come back for
Yeah,
season 3.
yeah,
So, I feel like in these shows, everybody dies. So at the end of the day, I can't be too upset about it. But
yeah,
I do feel like the story just kind of, I feel like there should have been a little bit more to Peach's character than going out like that. I didn't quite understand it, but it's not for me to understand. I'm not one of the writers. I don't know where the story is going. So I can't really, put my 2 cents in. All I can say is, hey, Peaches is available for a flashback if you need me.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't stress enough that I just was thinking like there's definitely more story to be told. But folks, I've always said this in either different interviews or coverage that writers and directors always talk about the ripple effect. If you're killing the character, it's because there's like a greater picture at hand. And that was always my thing. It's like, well, what's at hand here? Because, yeah, sure, if this is a means to establish Henrietta as like a real threat, okay, cool. But I also think there was still so much more story to be told with
Yeah.
Peaches now being after and under the possession of K9. Or does this become a thing where K9, who we know K9 is very possessive of Peaches, so does that become a thing? I don't know. We just gonna have to see. But on that note, working with Ren King, who is just fantastic. They are just honestly a counterpart to you when it comes to fashion. I mean, we gotta talk about how Ren showed up on a carpet, but
Oh,
also
killed
of
it.
course, yeah, very, very, very low key too in the red, just kind of like you're either going to notice me if you do, you don't, but I'm here. And then obviously, how could you miss them? But Ren is such a fantastic person. I love the introduction of this character. And obviously, you two have shared a majority of the scenes of this episode together, working with Ren. To talk about that, and then ultimately, what was some of the chatter that you all had about ultimately the demise of Peaches and how that was shot?
Oh man, no, Ren is awesome. Big shouts out to her. She's just such a dope person to work with. She at the carpet, she was just like, "This is my first carpet," like her, she was just so excited, and I just could see it, and I just loved that we shared that moment together too. But it's
Yeah.
like, aside from that, her outfit, she killed it. A murder. And our scenes, we had an intimacy coordinator with us. Um, and she was amazing as well. Shout out to her too. So it was so professional. We were just
Yeah.
like, it was choreographed well. It wasn't like raunchy in any type of way, despite what we're doing. She was just super, super sweet about it. Even when she was, knew what she had to do, she was like, "I'm sorry, I didn't want to do that." Sorry, it had to be you.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Man. Um, what is it like? I'm sure you probably maybe actually is this your first death scene?
Um, yes. Yeah, it is actually. I'm
Alt,
trying. I
alter,
got shot. I got shot in a couple other movies I did, so I know that you know, I've
yeah.
had blood and I've been laid out, but I don't think I've ever passed on a film.
Mm. How is that seeing it, working it, filming it multiple times? If folks don't know, how
Well,
is that?
obviously from what you saw, the outfit was a bit racy. I the request in the beginning was to be nude, and I don't do that yet. So I opted for this. I kind of gave the suggestion, like, hey, I would be down for some sort of like dominatrix type stuff,
Yeah.
So I suggested the outfit that I had on. So being that I was so, undressed, um, it was just everybody was just so worried about that part of it. It was like the death part was just bittersweet.
Yeah.
I don't want to go. I definitely didn't want to be off the show, but it happens. And I think it's just going to be like it was just so shocking for everybody to see, and just, anticipation of not knowing what Peaches is going to be doing or what's going to happen to her, and then just like randomly all of a sudden it's like, "Oh my god."
I just did, and it really came out of nowhere. They shot this scene really beautifully, and I did like just how you can feel the sexual tension. I mean, Henrietta obviously called their shot pretty early. It was like, I want that red bone right there. So obviously Henrietta has a type, um, and thus there was also a little interest in this change of words there about like the plug, and obviously I guess there might have been discussion there about what they possibly could do together, and then ultimately Henrietta, I would feel almost an impulsive move, or maybe even a power move to do so, because at one point it kind of seemed like a lust for her, but then ultimately it seems like it kind of evolved into a potential partnership or business move. Then ultimately it was just like, all right, so I talked to the connect, you're out, I'm in, here we go, type of thing, which also brings about more questions there. It's just a lot to kind of sit back and say like, wow, I maybe I don't understand why it needed to happen, but here we are. But the fans are talking. The fans are definitely talking. That's the important
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. I mean, and I honestly do think it was a power move. I think that was more so to establish her character. You know how, like, in the first or in the second season, I should say, how Rayon took out the homeboy within the first scene. This is kind of like, well, guess what? Bow, I got your girl now. And the second episode, so that's
Mm.
another way to think of it too.
Okay, I can get with that. I can absolutely get with that.
What
Um,
better way to get at K9 than to take out his girl?
that's true. That's
You
true. And
know?
could his snitching have been an issue for Henrietta? That's an interesting take. See, this is why we had to come to you and talk
You
about it.
know,
Let us know some insights. You be knowing everything. Don't be telling me
I don't know
anything, by the
nothing,
way.
right? These are just my thoughts and speculation, okay?
Fair enough. I mentioned in the beginning of this, booked and busy. You did tell me this, but also didn't give me all the details. But I know just a little bit here that you're getting ready to spend some time in San Francisco, which
Yeah.
means there is more you coming. So don't fear.
Yes,
You're gonna have
yes.
more Rama on your television screen here, or your bit screen, one way or another. You're gonna find ways to be able to support her. So let's talk about this San Francisco trip that is nothing but business for you.
Yeah, I can't really talk too much about the film, but I will be shooting a feature out there end of April now into the beginning of May. It was going to be sooner, but they just pushed back the date. So I will be playing a mother again. For the last TV film I did where I was the mother, but yes. And then I also have another film that's going to be coming out that's already done and waiting for, we're going to figure out which network it's going on pretty soon. But that's called Bye for Now by
Okay.
director Queen K. And it's a really dope film that is like a emotional comedy thriller too at the same time because it's like suspenseful and
Hmm.
it's based on some true events that happened with a little bit of a twist. And I'm playing Aunt Angela, so that'll be exciting to see coming out soon. I have very different characters that are coming out.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, obviously, that means you get to show your versatility here. So you could be
Yes,
promiscuous one moment, you can be a mom in the next moment. You're gonna give all of that, and then the auntie, that's a whole nother vibe. I know you could don't say no mom and aunts are the same thing because they're not.
that was a sassy auntie vibe for sure.
um to also for contents of the interview, because we talk all the time, and with you staying booked and busy, having a fantastic work life balance, what are some of your goals for the remaining of this year and beyond?
Well, I've been saying that I want to get back into my painting because I kind of, I have my art, but I
Yeah.
haven't gotten back to painting in a minute. So I really want to get back into that. Um, and just, just get as many substantial, good roles that I can get and be on as many sets as I can be. That's
Yeah.
that's really the goals for this year is just elevate, elevate.
Hey, there we go.
That's
That's
right.
the y'all know that's the whole motto of the BMF crew there. So
That's right. That's Randy's thing right there.
and everybody's been grinding, man. It's really good to see you all collectively, whether you are a part of this season or not, or even beyond. Everybody is still striking on all cylinders. So that culture within your cast is very strong, and that trickles all the way down from Randy. So without a doubt, I know you all are going to continue to be on our television screens and movie and big screens, giving us the entertainment we want.
Thank
I'd be remiss also if I didn't ask, what's one of your dream roles?
Um, Probably like another superhero or like actual, get into superhero mode where I have some sort of superpower or something. Because
Mm.
last year I said I wanted to cry. Boom, I cried. I said I wanted to do, such and such and be on like a scary film. And now I'm going to be on, some somewhat of a scary film. And so it's just, I think manifestation at its finest. So superhero next.
That's right. That's
Oh,
exactly how it works. You gotta
okay.
manifest it. So I wanted to cry, so I cried. Well, listen, I'll let you go. I think what happens with Peaches after this, or the ripple effect of this, is going to be interesting. I for sure think that there's definitely some interesting developments with Henrietta going forward, due to this. I'm really the gears are turning now with the K9 and her conflict. Could we see him returning? Does he somehow get out or take a plea because he's out here just whistling to the moon here? And
Right.
and he's just a small casualty because they want the BMF board. So could they actually have him out and he turns snitch and I don't know how dangerous that will be dangerous for him because everybody know, but we can kind of see how that plays out. But um, it's been a pleasure having you a part of the BMF family and seeing you on television and seeing Peaches come and lighten the screen up, and everybody's lusting for Peaches online and wishing they had a piece of her and wishing they were Henrietta and da da da. I'm sure people out there simping right now. I would have never killed her, but you know, Henrietta had to do what she had to do
She
to
had to
establish
do what
her
she had to
position.
do.
Well, Ramen,
Uh,
thank you so much for your time
Thank
today.
you so much, Najir. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
We'll do it again soon. When those movies come out, we get more information. We're going to be right back at it here to talk and promote all things you. So definitely appreciate the time. We'll be circling the block on this very soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you. You have a beautiful night.
You too.
All right. Bye.
Demetrius